Hi there, hope that you're enjoying your stay in Cape Town and in our house. As you well know, in South Africa we've got some electricity supply problems, and so things can get a little unusually finicky if there are any problems. There very seldom are any problems in this house because we've got a very nice solar and load shedding protection setup with solar panels, inverters and batteries. But in the unlikely event that something does go wrong, like an overload or some other form of failure, it's worth you knowing how to reboot the system. So I thought I would just show you quickly with a video walkthrough. Thanks. So first thing to check, I guess, if suddenly you don't have power is, of course, in case something tripped. And in this cupboard is where you find the isolators, and if any of them are down, then you know something has, one of the circuits overloaded and tripped. That might happen once or twice a year. To us, it's very infrequent that something like that happens. More likely, if something goes wrong, then what we have in this room here, which we call like the mud room or the storeroom, we have a variety of components that make up the supply arrangements, and basically we just need to do the following. If the power trips suddenly, like let's say we're using the air fryer or a kettle plus an iron plus an air fryer plus a tumble dryer plus a dishwasher, and it seems like, you know, it's possible that the system was overloaded, then typically it reboots itself after a few minutes. Power drops and it reboots in under 5 minutes. Probably under 1 minute, but sometimes as long as 3 minutes. And you don't have to touch anything, you don't have to do anything, and the power just comes back on once one of these inverters, which there are 3 of, got overloaded, and it self reboots. If it doesn't reboot in that time, then it requires a manual reboot, and that's what I wanted to walk you through. So what I've done is I have put a set of instructions here so that it's in writing, but sometimes the video is easier. There will be a set of instructions in this cabinet where you saw me remove them, now tucked into the top here. And those instructions are as follows. First thing to do is set the changeover switch from inverter all the way down to ESCOM, and that's referring to these switches here, all the way down to ESCOM. Okay. The next step on the list is turn local mains off, switch all the way down. That requires us coming over to this box marked local supply and turning all of these down. Right. Next on the list, back to the first box that we were in, and we have to turn off the supply to and the supply from, which is all of these ones, all the way down. Next, we go to the top of each of the 2 batteries that provide you with the backup power, and there's a little hatch at the top that you open up. Just slide it open like that. And put your hand, and I'm going to go closely on this one. You put your hand just over the edge here, and there's a little switch. You push the switch on the right hand side of it, and it turns off the battery and the lights no longer work. That battery on the left is the one to do first because it's the master battery. You come over to the one on the right. Once again, put your hand just inside, feel the switch, turn it off. Okay, with the batteries now off, we go to look underneath each of these inverters, and you can see this little light. You click it, and you go to each one and do the same, effectively turning off the inverter. The third one as well. Then back to the first inverter, and this time what we're doing is we're turning this knob / dial to off position. Same one at the bottom of this inverter, same one at the bottom of the third inverter. Okay. Now we've essentially reached the turning point, and we're going to, everything is now off, and we're going to boot it all back up using the opposite of the sequence that we've just followed. Almost the opposite. Step number 1 is to go to the master battery, feel for that same switch just inside. Yeah, this time on the other side. Then once that switch is in place, you come to the front of the battery, onto the silver on-off button. You hold it in for about 3 seconds, release it. It starts to boot up. Once it's happy, you turn to the one on the right. Oh, sorry, I need to do that switch on the inside first. Switch it on, then do the one on the outside. Okay. Once those are happy, which they are now, you go back to that button underneath the inverters, which is the silver button. On and on. This is the portion where we need to wait for some time. It does take, at a guess, somewhere in the order of 2 minutes sometimes for this green light, the one that's marked normal, to come on. Each of these inverters has a normal light, which once it's completed rebooting turns to green. Okay. So there's nothing much to do but wait. If everything's looking okay and on the batteries, and each of the lights underneath the inverters is blue, and you've done everything correctly, and we're simply waiting for the normal, the little green indicator light above the word normal to come on. For what it's worth, this bar here is indicating state of charge of the batteries, and they're fully charged at the moment. In the meantime, I'm just going to slide these little cables back on top of the batteries. By the way, there are two of these in the room. Generally put one above this box, which is the one in the corner, and there's the other one that fell down, and the other one close proximity to the local main supply from Eskom. By the way, this is a meter for prepaid electricity. The reason it's showing blank right at the moment is that we are in the middle of load shedding, and so it's not getting any supply, and therefore doesn't show up the number of units that are available. The solar panels provide, on most summer days, all the power that enough power to power the house to the tune of about 85% of its needs, and that's only because some of its needs are outside of the sunlight hours, otherwise it would do the whole job. The geysers are set on a timer and tend to try and optimize the sunlight by running them during the day and then firing them up again in the early hours so that the water's hot for your first shower of the day. And at that stage, obviously, it uses a battery as its primary source. Okay, we now have the normal lights showing there, and there. So we're good to go on all of those. Next step, we're now on step 11. Go back to the local mains, and we take them all the way up. We then go back to supply to and from, all the way up, and then we take the changeover switch all the way up to the top. You can see now all the lights came back on because we're now getting powered off the batteries, whereas it was on Eskom where there's load shedding at present. Then important final step, please to not forget, post that you might walk away thinking, okay, brilliant, we've got power back, but if in order to use the power from the solar panels, this step is vital. You have to go back to these knobs that we turned, and it's sort of a half turn or quarter turn actually, that we turned to turn them off. You now reverse that, turn it back so that they're aligned that way, and it's the same on each of the three. Takes a little bit of, it's not hard, but it takes a little bit of effort to turn it, and it clicks into place. Each of the three, that brings the solar panels back into play. Thanks very much. Hope you don't have to go through that at all. It's very, very rare that we do, but nevertheless, perhaps this will help you. And of course, I'll happily chat you through it if this video doesn't do the job or you've got any questions. So I've put the piece of paper back in its spot and closing this up here as well. Local supply at the top, battery, inverter 1, 2 and 3, and then the changeover box there. Thanks a lot. Ciao.